Good afternoon. We're now back in session. We took a recess from the last meeting, so now we're back in to session. And our only item on the agenda, of course, in this continued meeting is our budget. So we'll turn it over to our county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and the public at large. Thank you all for coming. Just to summarize, the county manager and the staff here, we're willing to go through this budget line item by line item, whatever would be the wish of the commission, in order to answer questions and help you get to a point where you can pass this budget and feel good about it. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to the commissioners.
Okay. For me, speaking only as Bruce Phillips told me, one vote, one person, I would say what I'd like for us to do, from my limited optic view, is anything that we changed from last year to this year that went up, we had to put more money into it, or we had to raise it, I'd like to know that. Or down. And just the major points as far as this goes. I think where I'm at now, that I just think I need a little more depth on it. I understand the summation was good. It made perfect sense to me, Mark. That was no worries, but I think more details, where that's line by line, and I will refer that to my other commissioners to my right and to my left. But I need more details.
I'd like to go line by line.
Okay. With that being said, any other input from other commissioners? We can certainly do it that way if everybody's in agreement. So I'm fine with that.
That's fine on me. The only thing I would suggest is be mindful of our department heads' time that are here. If you want to start with the department heads that are in attendance,
I like that.
start with their departments first, and then we can hit the other stuff that's not necessarily involves department heads.
I agree.
Okay.
With that being said, we have a couple of department heads here. So, Angela, you want to go first?
Sure.
So we're going to do animal control.
What page is animal control?
Hey, Don.
Ms. Laws?
Evening, Donnie.
43.
Got it marked. I still
Got to figure this thing down. I can't see.
I've got it marked somewhere. One of these tabs.
Carrie, you said what page, please?
It's line 4380.
4380.
I'm not
Thank you,
sure
ma'am.
what page it is.
380. Okay, thank you.
All right.
It's around page 16, if I'm not mistaken.
I need to know what color tab it is. That's what I'm saying.
Our page
It's kind of
Be this tab, whatever it is. Purple.
43.
Okay, got it.
Got it right here.
4380. Got you.
Page 72 of 119.
And then
general fund list.
we just
Mhm.
General fund.
Oh, yeah, there it
4380.
is. There's my tag right there. All right.
All right, go ahead. Hi, Angela.
Hey. So, oh, this seat right here. So I had made some adjustments in here when Mark requested that we look at where we could cut.
Sure.
Some additional cuts were made that I'm just not comfortable with. And number one is gonna be the vet care line item, 432670. Or 43.
And when you say that, give us a little time,
Okay.
because when you say that and you go right to it, it's going to take me a minute.
Just don't unplug this balloon.
4380.2670, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Gotcha.
It's on the next page.
Yep.
Yeah, I have that one starred from there, yes.
Yeah. So as you may remember, last year at budget, that line item was increased $3,000 because Friends of Madison County Animals, who has previously provided us with $3,000 for spay and neuter. Just a second.
We're listening. We can do two things at one
I
time. We're
know,
going to do two
I
things.
know.
I'm with you.
All right. So anyway, you guys really championed adding some money to that vet care line because, you know, we can't depend on an outside organization to fund the spay and neuter for the animals that come into the animal shelter. And, you know, Commissioner Goforth, you were really instrumental in helping get those extra funds put in there.
I'd like to go home and sleep at night, that's why I'm instrumental, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I tried to explain that given the fact of COVID and the spay and neuter clinic being closed for 3 months, we're going on 4 months now, we're getting a lot of litters of puppies and kittens in, more so than we have in the last 7 years. And those funds are gonna be a lot more instrumental this year. You know, we're gonna have those, and we cannot depend on an outside organization to just hand us money when we ask for it. We don't know that they're gonna get the donations required to give us those funds.
We know Fonka is down, and we know they're not gonna bound, and their other vet techs aren't coming, they've already been told that's not gonna happen. So
Yes.
we're gonna have animals everywhere,
Yes.
and we're gonna have to become a kill shelter and everything
Yes.
else.
You know, right now, we are sitting at a 95% live release rate. 12 years ago, when I started at the shelter, we were at a 93% euthanasia rate. I definitely do not want to see our numbers go backwards. So I am not comfortable with losing that $3,000 out of that vet care line.
Sure.
And also, you brought those people in from, was it UT or something, the vet?
Yes,
people that come
it's,
and
they come
give
from
us-
all over the country. It's the Asheville Spay Neuter Alliance by the ASPCA. Those vets come in on Fridays. Unfortunately, due to COVID, that's canceled through the end of the year. However, we do have those veterinarians there on standby. I'm sorry, my mask keeps going down.
It's okay, it's all right.
We do have those veterinarians on standby that if we have any issues, they will certainly come right out to the shelter and look at what we've got.
When I was there were 8 of them there. There were 8 veterinarians.
Yes.
In vet school, ready one more year, working
Yes.
on our animals. I said, oh my God, nobody gets that kind of treatment.
No,
And they
no.
told me it was a great rotation because they got to come here and do all these things.
Yeah.
My point is, I think you've done well, and I certainly do not want to see that line adjusted. I know we're going to have to adjust lines, but I don't want to see a lot of other animals all over God's creation, putting them down.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, if we don't have the money to spay and neuter them, we cannot adopt them out. And then if we don't have rescues that can take them, and our rescues are currently overloaded, we are sending up north as fast as we can go, but I mean, at some point in time, that's gonna slow down because the industry is inundated with an overpopulation right now because unfortunately COVID hit in the middle of spring birthing season for cats and dogs. And so, you know, we really have to look at what we want to do as a community, you know, with the homeless animals that we're getting in.
Oh,
You know,
Let me ask you a couple of other numbers here. Your 2020 budget was $339,000?
yes, sir. That's the
And-
amended budget. That
Right,
includes
right.
the 18,000 and some change from the Madison 51.
Mhm. And if I'm looking at it, now somebody make sure I'm pulling the right line here. And the proposed, so if we put that $3,000 back in, actually, we don't have much of a budget. Talk to me about what that total increase would be with the $3,000 back.
It would be $315,047 if you added $3,000.
Okay?
Now, I would just point out, okay, for information purposes, you're right, the budget this year, including the Madison 51, the Petco, and those grants, they're totaling, well, they're about $36,000 worth of grants.
I see you.
Yeah,
And so those are not in this year's, okay?
correct.
But if you look back to the 2 years before, the amount spent was $273,000 and $284,000. And whether there's money in this budget, you know, for veterinary supplies or some other supplies, I think there's adequate funding in this to cover everything, including the spay and neuter program. And so, and we have contingency funds that we have set aside should there be a need. My point being is that over the last 2 years, they've averaged $280,000 in expenditures. This year it's up to $302,000. but I think $312,000 budget is certainly a workable budget, and that would be, but I'll leave it, I'm just making a point to you. Y'all do with what you think is best.
Your staff was impacted by the pay increase, correct?
Yes, sir.
When we raised the wages?
Yes, sir.
Which would not, in the past, obviously, we raised wages last year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Because we lost 2 animal control officers back to
Correct.
back because they had not received pay raises. And
Correct.
were not being adequately covered.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And so you guys definitely made up for that with our new hires. You know, I had put in $4,400 where I could cut in other areas. And I'm still, you know, definitely willing to discuss that with you guys.
Well, and I appreciate our county manager making those points, and I see where he's coming from with here. My point, and I'm one person, is I'd like for you to do more spay and neuters than we do now, because they're all over God's creation in Grapevine. And I love Grapevine.
Happens to make
But
it
they're,
on your deal, right?
well, absolutely, I'll make mine, then I'll take them in. But yeah, it's just a matter of, I'd like for us to do more, because it's a public health hazard
Yes,
if we let it go too far.
yes,
Unless you want to see them thrown into the river in a bag.
yes.
And don't you think for a minute that don't happen when it gets too bad?
I have 2 puppies at my
If
house.
you've been
right
here
now
more than
currently.
a year or two, you've seen kittens or puppies tied in a bag with rocks and thrown into a river.
I have 2
Oh,
puppies at
or
my
run
house
over
right
the
now that
lawnmower.
were abandoned at Redmond.
Yeah, and
Well, are we
so
Add
sorry.
that back.
All in
Add that
consensus to
back.
add it back?
My only statement on it is, if there's ever an argument to be made for an ounce of prevention, it is more than more than a pound of cure.
Yep.
The spay and neuter would be that. I mean, I have no problem with putting that figure back where it was,
I'm good.
and knowing that that's what that money goes specifically for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have we, but as far, and you alluded to it, Angela, I mean, is there anywhere else though that we've got? I mean, is there anywhere, and I'm not necessarily even looking for a full $3,000 offset somewhere, but is there anywhere we can contribute towards that somewhere? To help out, that's not gonna,
So under professional services, what I had suggested to be cut off of what I had requested originally was $500. Waste Pro increases their cost every single year. We have to account for that.
okay.
So I had,
So is that what your professional services are, is Waste Pro?
it is Waste Pro and it's Terminex.
Yeah, Waste Pro and Terminex.
Yes, sir. And our Terminex contract has not increased in the last several years, so I'm looking at that to increase at any point in time.
So I'm assuming, I don't wanna assume too much, but I assume Terminex is they treat for fleas and ticks and everything around
Yeah,
the
spiders,
facility?
ants, mice,
Okay.
you name it, all the nasty things that we do not want around our animal food.
Okay, all right.
So you've got 2,000 in that line. What are you proposing it be?
2,500.
Now, I had requested 2,500, but 2,000 is what I'm comfortable with on that.
Okay.
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
I wasn't looking
All
at
right.
adding more stuff, I'm looking at subtracting if we
Okay.
can, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not, I'm good with adding for the spay and neuter, because I see the value in that, but I'm not necessarily looking to add anywhere else if we don't have to.
Right.
Angela, how about our water? Our water has gone up from 3,161 to 4,200. Is that pretty normal?
It is normal when you have a full shelter that stays full,
Okay.
because we have to do 2 cleanings per day now. It used to be 1 major cleaning a day.
Okay.
But the state came in last year and required that we do 2 cleanings per day. So we have a morning cleaning and an afternoon cleaning.
And you're on Marshall Water?
We are on city water.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's very probable that the town's water rate,
Yes,
if I
sir.
doesn't already know it, I think most of the towns are looking at having to increase the water and sewer rate. So,
Angela, who wrote the grants for you, the ones we didn't get this time? Who wrote those grants, do you remember?
I wrote those grants.
Okay, any chance of getting others in the future?
I
or-
was applying for grants.
Okay, okay.
So, and Mr. Chairman, also just the word of caution for you when on the comparison, because I caught myself doing what I think you just did. When you're looking at the the 3161,
Yeah.
that was the year to date. If you gotta go over the next column,
Ooh, okay.
to actually see what was budgeted.
Okay.
So the 3161, I would assume is because water bills lag several months
Okay.
between the time that you
I got
do
you.
your usage and the time that you actually have to pay it.
I got you, okay, yeah, all right.
So, and I caught myself more than once going through the budget, picking up the wrong column, and I had to go back and correct myself, so.
Well, we would hope that that far right-hand column, the manager's column, is being combed, looked at, and that's your bare bones that you think you can get by and swim through, but nothing, because there can be no fat in this budget, because we all know we're in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I completely understand that, but I was not comfortable losing that those daycare funds.
I don't want those animals running around either, but yeah, I got you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Angela, have a good day.
Take care.
Sam,
Hey, how are y'all?
good. Carrie, which number?
His is in the back of your book. It's under 10. It's a whole different tab, fellas.
That's even
Toward the
better.
very back.
Yeah.
Good.
It might be pink. Maybe it's a pink tab.
Chartreuse, whatever, that works, okay. I can find that.
What's the next to last tab one? Okay, you're it, guys.
Yeah. Mine's a different color.
Sorry.
Colorblind one.
I know.
Who's this? Water. What's that? Yes, thank you. Hello, Sam.
Hey.
We're good.
All right, I think the county manager wants us to ask questions, Ben, so, because we've gone over this budget, so let's go over it. I think the biggest question we have is burning in my mind was the big deficit we had that were 400,000 in the hole. Yeah, red hole, whatever's in there, and I guess I need an understanding whether or not that's an auditor's adjusted figure, or where are we? What does that mean now? We have the man in front of us, so.
You're asking me?
I am, sir.
Those numbers are not my numbers, I prefer the county manager, I don't know those numbers, I don't know about those numbers.
Okay, all right.
Audit stuff involved with that, I have no idea what that is.
Okay, well, we have our finance officer and our county manager here. What do we know about that 400,000? Is that a hard fixed number? Has it been audit adjusted? Help me with this, everybody.
Okay, just hold on 1 second, I'm going
Okay.
to it.
Where are you at on the $400,000 number, Mr. Chair?
Oh, that, at our last meeting, at our last briefing there, before we took in there recess from this one,
Okay.
he told us that we were 400,000.
Oh, where I'm sorry, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think our finance person can explain that to us.
I can explain it to you.
Okay.
Have you made some adjustments to this since I saw this the other day?
Just the capital was in the wrong section. It was listed under there was a number listed in the liabilities that has been moved down to capital.
Okay, well, there were some, first and foremost, okay, the information that's in the accounting system is unaudited, all right?
Oh.
And so when I say that to you, with the information that I was looking at the other day, that showed contributed capital in the landfill fund had a negative of about $400,000. A little
Correct.
bit less than $400,000. There's been an adjusting entry apparently posted since the other day when I looked at this. And right now it's showing a negative of $27,674. So it's still in the red, but it's
That's
not
a
in the
whole lot
red.
better.
Really as bad as.
Yeah.
as we thought.
Woo.
And so for those of you.
Norris, is that what you and I,
for those of
that's
who
what you and
are-
I discussed yesterday?
Let me make a comment here, okay? For those of you who may not understand this, we're working on unaudited numbers, unadjusted numbers, and we have one person working in the finance department, and that person has been working in the finance department, overseeing all of this operation by herself. So I would say that, there's not anything anybody's done wrong or anything like that, but, I was relying on information off of the financial system.
Sure.
And I have cautioned you guys before about the fact that our audits are a year behind.
Yep.
And I have cautioned about that, and that when you have unaudited information, you don't know if it's right or not. And so you can have a reasonable assurance that it is, but you don't know.
Sure.
And so, but, you know, I'm glad that we've all got some scrutiny on this and apparently found an error that needed to be corrected.
And so I can fix mine, what line were we dealing with there?
It is not a line in the
Okay.
budget,
It's
it's
not
an
here.
internal
I
office.
I got you, perfect,
adjustments.
thank you, Carrie.
Right now, it's showing that we are in the hole $27,672.
That's a big easier hole to dig out of than a
yeah.
$14,000 one, so that's great, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
But let me make one more statement.
sure,
Okay, this is not even audited information. When I say that, the audit from 19 has not been completed. Those adjusting entries have not been posted. So this may not be the right number either. And it likely is not. And so when I say this to you, I'm not at all trying to, you know, say anything other than the fact that when you don't have an audit to begin with, you don't know where you're starting from. And you won't know until it's updated and the adjusting entries are posted. And so, I say that just as a point of clarification. It's like trying to, well, I'll just stop there.
Well, okay, I think, well, no, and for me, I'm not pointing blame here. What I'm trying to get to is the very best figures we possibly put our hands on as we go through this budget, so that we can make our conjecture and there in a common sense, logical fashion, and from there, because I mean, I almost had a stroke when I heard 400,000, because I know what our budget looks like, so that's
So basically,
better.
with that said, we can safely say we're not gonna have an increase in the disposal card, correct?
The county manager and staff have recommended an increase in the disposal card for several reasons. One reason has to do with the fact that last year, when we gave raises up there at the landfill, we gave out about $70,000 worth of raises, and there was no increase in revenue to offset those raises.
right. And that was, the landfill took a disproportionate share when the board voted to raise the county minimum wage up to the $10 an hour.
Yes.
They were so.
That affected the landfill probably more than any department.
Yeah, it had the largest number of very low-paid employees.
Right.
It also increased the pay of 4 of the recycle positions also. They were like $10 an hour, they went to $12 an hour.
Yeah.
So that was another increase, another area of that department.
So the bottom line is that we had about $70,000 worth of additional expenses with no additional revenue. The other thing that's going on, and Sam has prepared, and I'll let him share this with y'all, the tonnage has increased substantially year over year since 2017. It's up about 1,300 tons, and I'll pass this around in that same time frame. And so what that means is that you're having to haul more trash, and by virtue of hauling more, you're gonna have some additional money in the budget for that hauling cost.
So,
And so, let me just say one more
Yeah.
quick thing on that point, is that there's no way to increase revenue with it being on this, based on this card, you know. Yeah, if it's somebody coming in that's a hauler hauling and whatnot on a per ton basis, yeah, we will get enough revenue to cover those, but with the convenience centers and $160 fixed costs with more tonnage, it just comes right off of the bottom.
So how many cards we have, Sam? You know off the top of your head?
Well, off the top of my head, we have about 9,500 cards that we issue, but this year alone, I have released $30,000 of cards due to dumpster contracts or individuals that say they have no power at the house. There's
Have we
different
got any way,
reasons why.
do you go and check these, Sam?
Oh,
Let's say
absolutely,
that?
every
Yes, you
one
do.
of them. I am in police
So
hall.
can you call Fritz Broad? Is that something that's public that they can tell you?
What they do is if someone calls us, they say, hey, I have no power at this house and I want to get the card released, we require them to reach out to French Broad Electric. We have a working dialogue with French Broad Electric. Then they'll say, hey, I need proof that I have no power at this location. And so French Broad will email us a letter that I stick with every packet stating that they have no power. Now, I also go out and look, just because I go out and look. Because here's the thing. Let's say they turn the power off. 2 months down the road, they turn the power back on. No one knows of that. French Broad don't call me. I ain't got time to go back and check it. So those ones that don't have power, but they're still livable dwelling, I consider livable dwelling. I keep a folder, and about 2 months later, I make my rounds again, make sure ain't someone living there.
So is that
That's
something
something I
French
do.
Broad
Takes a lot
would
of
be
time,
willing
but I
to
do it.
let you know till you didn't have to do that?
I did not. I've never been asked to do that.
No, I'm saying, is that something French Broad would be willing to do, let you know when the power was on somewhere?
We approached them before, me and Tammy Cody and a few others. We had meetings up with environmental and inspections. And we had started a dialogue with Tammy, had started a dialogue about different things, working with French Broad, that other areas can help other departments also. And my department was wrapped into that I could use some reconnects and that kind of stuff. And I wasn't privy to those meetings upon that meeting with Tammy. I don't know if it went on deaf ears or they just wasn't involved, didn't want to do it. I'm not sure because I wasn't involved with those conversations, but it has been talked about before, yes. But I've never got nothing from it. I just, every time someone needs their power, a proof of it, they send it to me, no new issues whatsoever. So I do that.
Sam, would you mind to inform the folks here of the training that you're currently doing? I think you're
Well, I
on the third day of it to
yes, this is
hopefully
my third day.
improve collection.
I listened to Bryce's live stream the other night, and I'll be honest with y'all, I did not know that my department would be talked about in the open forum with questions about my department. I just wasn't know that was going to happen. If I'd known that was going to be the case, I've been sitting right there ready to answer any questions that y'all had to answer about me and my budget. So I like to put that out there first and foremost. Each one of y'all said some stuff that I took a part of that I agree with. Some I may not, but some that I did. One of the things is that Mr. Brigman, you were very adamant about wanting not to raise the cards. And I agree with you, actually. But I also heard some other things. I'll go back to this in a little bit. But I heard some other things that we need to revamp the landfill. How we maybe be able to create revenue different ways. Just, you know, there's all kinds of things that you can do. And I'll tell y'all first and foremost, I'm your guy. If y'all want to sit down and have meetings and let's figure out a different way of doing this, I got it right here. I'm ready to go. And one of the things that I already started months ago, I've been doing stuff about the card for 2 years now. Stuff that y'all are not even privy to, never even know about, never talked to me about. I've been doing it, collecting money the best way I can. I don't have it with me. I'm training my center attendants. We are going to be checking every card of everybody that comes into my collection centers and my landfill. And my training to my men is this. There's 17 reasons that I've written down why we should be checking cards. We're losing revenue in many ways. And by not holding people accountable, they're getting away with it more. I don't think I have any of those here for you guys. Well, I got one for me. There's 17 reasons why we should be carding folks. And every one of these, we're losing money because of that reason. So I'm teaching my men that I go to this so when they know they're asking for people's cards, that they're doing the right thing. First and foremost, what they're doing is protecting the people that pay for their cards every year and do what they're supposed to. We're trying to catch the people that are being untruthful, getting away with it, and there's many reasons why we need a card because there's so many. I put 17, there's probably 25 or 30. But I'm telling these guys this so they feel comfortable when they go up and say, hey, ma'am, sir, do you have your disposal card? And here's what's happened in the past. They were doing this. They were not doing it when I came on board. I started guys to do that. One would do it, one wouldn't do it, this wouldn't do it, and I couldn't they just kept these all over the place. And the problem was this. These men take a beating at collection centers. Let me tell you what, people come in and are very nasty to these men.
Mm-hmm. They don't get paid enough. They don't get paid enough, I can tell you that.
And here's the thing, they're saying, hey, you need your card. They have nothing and no one around there to support them. or back them up. I can ask them to do that, but they have nobody to defend them or to speak up for them. So there's a lot going on. In about 3 weeks, one of the things that the 3 commissioners that are here when I got hired on, one of the things they said they wanted signage at our collection centers. Well, give me 3 weeks to look at your centers, people. Because I've got some stuff going hand in hand that'll help these men to be able to have support when someone can't be there with them. I've got the county ordinances that are being county ordinances from day one on the signs when we're starting this. And if they got any questions, they don't have to know nothing. Just call that number out there. Everybody has a question. I don't have a car because this. They're not going to be able to leave their stuff. And my men are being trained how to handle these situations. They ain't got to say a whole lot because the men I have are, they're older and they can't retain everything. I can't expect them to remember 17, 18 things while they're doing it. I just need them to know when they're asking, they're doing it for the right reason. So they feel confident when they ask, hey, it's a reason why we're asking. Because we're helping all those people that are doing the right thing and we're catching people that's doing the wrong thing. So that is training them giving right now. It's going hand in hand with all the signs we're putting out, the recycling cans, signs, the ordinances, no climbing on it. The whole center's going, every one of them going to be done. Every one of them. And they're beautiful signs too. Wait y'all see them. They ain't just like plain black and white. They're bam in your face and look at me. So it's going to be a shock factor, and that's going to make people look. They're going to be every sign in there because they're going to be in awe. And part of it is this part that I'm about, the card is going to be also included in that on every compactor, every side, and every center. And I'm going to take 2 months for my guys to ask. You can still leave your trash, but it's September 1. The sign's going to be there. The date's going to be there. They're going to have plenty of time for us to educate people. So it's not going to be like, oh, we all of a sudden, no, we're going to give them a chance. Still leave your trash, but you're going to have it. Give them plenty of notice. So when September 1st comes, we're ready to rock and roll. And all these people along the way are catching, well, you don't have your card, well, call the landfill. Call that number right there in front of them. They'll call us, we'll walk them through it, we'll make sure they have the card. If they don't have, they need a duplicate, we'll get it, we'll get them up to speed. So September 1, they're ready to go. And I'm going to catch a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. Y'all have no idea how many people are getting away with this.
Yeah.
I mean, tons.
I do have an idea. One thing that I want to know, have you talked to Lori about the percentage that that our computer system is maybe missing on this?
I'll walk you through this. Okay, in 2014, 2015, when y'all changed it from 180 to 160, everybody they go through and changed all the numbers. That year alone, I don't know how many I've caught and how many are getting away. They did not get put on, the card did not get put on the tax bill. I'm catching them to this date, 5 or 6 years, never having a card. Because when they come to landfill, because they have C&D or something like that. Right. We caught a lot this year because everybody's staying home because of COVID. They got things to do to bring construction. They got to bring those to the main landfill, not the collection site. We've caught so many of them. There were so many that year. I don't know how many there are. I'm catching them every day. There's a set of numbers. Also, these homes that people buy and they sell to someone, another person takes it over. There's a lot of the $160 didn't get transferred over to that bill either. They got their tax part of it, but not the disposal card part, not the bill. This year, they went to a new tax system, okay? That new tax system, so many cards got left off, I can't even tell you how many. I found so many people that their cards are not on their bill. I'm catching them every day. And I actually showed Mark a few of them the other day. I had 5 that happened in 1 week.
So why is that, Sam? I mean,
I don't know what happened. I don't know why. But
we bought a new system.
Yes.
And when we bought that system, Lori complained about it. She was to contact the people that were to come up here and work with her and the personnel to get that corrected. And I think now we're having a hard time to get them to show up. From what I understand, we bought the system, there's some perks in the system, and now we're having a hard time getting them to come up here and do that.
we still owe money? Owe the money?
Well, that was my next question. Do we still owe them?
Yeah, Commissioner Rigmon and the rest of the commission, you're right. There are errors in the tax cards, and that was something that Sam brought to my attention. I've had conversations with the tax office.
this has been going on for a long time.
It's not a new anomaly, but it underscores some of the concerns I think that we have about the revenue system for the landfill.
Yep.
Whether you use a card or whether you use another method, the system needs to be fair to everybody. And right now, with some people's cards getting on their bill and some not, that's entrenched.
And I agree. I don't want to increase the card. Because when you increase the card, the good people are paying more, and the people who getting away with it are still getting away with it. Guess
Well,
what?
Sam,
I'm one of those people.
what about
I pay
not
$160
doing
too.
not doing the card? What about doing stickers on the car?
I don't like that. Other people have tried that. See, I've had luxury with people from High Point, Cumberland, all over the landfills. I go to the Land of Sky meetings. I go to different venues I go to. When I do my certifications, we meet people from all over. We can sit there and talk about our landfills, how we do things, that kind of thing. Matter of fact, they all love the card system. Cumberland, they're actually talking about doing it right now because of the way we do it. With the guy down, the guy that runs the place down there.
Well, I
So,
think the success of the card system is just like what you're saying, is enforcement of actually
the
making
enforcement
people
is the
produce
key.
cars.
If we enforce it, like I'm saying, all these things, that's just one of 17, and that's not even the big one. I got one bigger than that.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Wolf Law. Wolf
Yeah.
Law. You got the Wolf Law community. Okay? You go up into Wolf Law.
Yep.
Okay? There's a line that runs through there.
Half
It
of
becomes
it's
Yancey County.
Yeah.
Okay? All those people in Yancey County, there's no exit that way. They have to come back down to the Wolf Law. Okay?
Yep.
Here's what's happening. Those folks up there know that they have to purchase a card because we let them use our landfill if they purchase a card. There's over 400 homes, we have no addresses, no way of contacting them, that use our site all the time. You know why? You know why? They can.
Yeah.
Because we're not carding them. If I card them, and those people, because out of 400 some homes, I had 12 people this year come and got me new cards. 12. 11 last year. These people are coming and going. They might not be there all year, but they're still coming to generate trash at some point. Those people need to be caught. They need to pay $160 like everybody else. The revenue's there to be made.
Yep.
We just gotta enforce these cards. 100%. Well, I'll help the finance department, I'll help mapping, I'll help everybody by me doing this. Because as I catch them, I'm telling everybody else.
All right,
I've been doing it already for 3.5 years anyway.
all right.
But this is gonna come in a large scale if I start enforcing this and make them happen. And I done decided, because y'all talking about ways to create revenue, I already started this months ago. Because after last year, when I got my budget, I said, man, there ain't no way I'm gonna make it this year.
Well, and all
And this year's the same as last year. The
And-
deficit's still the same.
in all due respect, we would hope that you had started that months ago.
Oh
So,
yeah,
I mean,
there's
that's,
things that
you
y'all
know,
have no idea that I'm
Yeah.
doing. There's still so many scenarios that will blow y'all away. I mean, we have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm doing things I know I'm doing in the realm of being in the right, not doing something rogue that could get myself in trouble. I'm doing what I know I can do by county ordinances. I'm protected.
Sure.
So that's what I do. I'm one of these people that just make up rules as I go and do what I want to on a whim. I do not do that. I am not putting myself in that kind of jeopardy to lose my job. Because I love my job too much. I love the people of Madison County too much. And I want to be a positive in anyone, whatever I may do. You know, animal shelter. Here. Who knows what 10 years from now is going to be. I might be sitting up there.
Right.
You know, whatever it may be, I'm going to be engaged in doing a positive thing. So my passion is true. I'm dedicated, loyal. I love the people of Madison County, and I feel like the people that's been paying the cards every year are not being judged justly, and I'm here to fix it.
Well, good. And I don't think anyone doubts your passion.
Oh,
So
that's
that's,
You
know,
hear my
don't
voice,
worry about
probably.
that. Yep.
I'm very passionate.
So to get back, I guess to where we need to be right now as
Yes,
far as trying
yes.
to get this budget
Absolutely.
for this year going.
Right.
One of the questions that was asked the other night was about the sudden increase of transport to market.
Yes.
Okay, it's not a sudden thing to me. I've been asking for money on my budgets every year.
Okay.
Okay, and I can justify that. Why? Last year, my budget that I presented was 150-some thousand, almost 150,000 difference between my expenditure and my revenue. So I showed that. I didn't give nothing other than that. And what happened is that difference was I got 100,000 out of the fund balance, and they took my transport to market. I requested $525,000. I got $475. We're right back to what it's been for the last 4 or 5 years. I didn't get no. So that was how they made it $150,000. And when I got that, I about fell up in the floor. I knew day one I was in trouble because it's been going up. Now from 2016-17 year to 2019 and 2020 year, you read right with me. The difference in the tonnage between that year and that year and first year, the increased tonnage is 1,303.51 tons. Okay, that's how much more there is from there till now.
On an annual basis is what you're talking
Yes,
about, right? Yeah.
because there's no increase all those 4 years, so I can just tell you what it was then in 2016, 17, 2009, because it's increased. It increases every year. It's increasing.
Mhm.
Okay, if you take that increase from that first year to this year, okay, which is 1,300, you take that, all right? And, oh, she didn't put it on there, right? Anyway, that's supposed to be 1303.51. That's at 1030. That's actually supposed to be the one above, the
The digits
130351.
have been transposed.
Yeah, I just did, I put it in wrong. But you divide that, when I'm dividing it by 18, J.D. Gosnell takes our waste to Tennessee. Okay? He averages about 18 ton per load. Okay? If you take that 18 tons per load, that equals 57.25 loads extra that year. You see what I'm saying? That's the increase. It's 57.25 loads for J.D. Gosnell. Okay? His cost per load is $440 no matter what. Then you have the fuel charge. And the fuel charge goes up and down. It's based on a scale from a group from Atlantic, from on the East Coast. They, Mr. Briggs probably knows about that. They take that average and we put that, how many miles it is, how many gallons it is, whatever to that, and that adds to that $440 per load. Well, it averages about, over a period of time I put down, it was $80 a load. So I added that $440 and $80 and made $520 per load it costs for us to send it to Tennessee. Well, at 57 loads, at that cost, it comes up to $29,770. That's the increase for just J.D. Gosnell taking it. Now, on top of that, you got to pay the tonnage to Lakeway, now GFL. That tonnage also. That 1,000, I just put it wrong, 1,303.51. They charge us $22.52 a ton. You take that tonnage increase or difference, and that it ends up being $23,207. Okay, that's Lakeway GFL. That's the people that take our material. You add J.D. Gosnell with the Lakeway, it comes to $52,977. That's the increase. It's been $477 transport to market for the last 5-6 years, you know. So what did I do? Same thing last year I did this year. I took that $52,000 and added it to my $475,000, made it $525,000. That's how I came up with that number.
Okay.
Is that we might need.
So,
Now this year I put more down. I actually requested 545 instead of 525. I know 525 is what y'all are looking at, but let me tell you why I put 545 instead of 525. In 2021, Lakeway GFL has the right to increase our tonnage price. It's in the contract. Okay, it's in the contract. Now, they may not, because traditionally in the last 10 years they haven't raised it any. The last time they raised it was in 2010-11. It went from $21.50 to $22.52 a ton. They might like us and not increase it. But if they do, and also if the tonnage increases like it has in the last 4 or 5 years, we're going to have to allow for that. So I just factored those numbers in when I thought it might be on the 3% interest, 3% increase, and the average of increase of tonnage it might be, and that's why I come up with 545. But 525, based on last year's numbers, we're probably about $2,000 short, and I can figure that out somewhere.
all right, so for the benefit of people here and people who may be watching online, okay, I know the answer to this question already, but I think it'd be good for people to hear it from you, and I think we all know the answer to this. Explain for everybody who might not know why you're shipping our garbage off.
Well, we are a transfer station. And a transfer station means that everything that comes in-house gets shipped out somewhere. We're not an active landfill. We don't have an active sale. In other words, we don't take the trash in and put it into a ground in a hole on property.
So for clarification purposes, what our landfill is that's in the county
It's classified as a transfer station.
is a transfer station and a construction and demolition cell,
Yeah,
correct?
we have one cell still open, it's a construction and demolition.
That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. So
That's in the footprint of the permit of what we are as a landfill. We're still a landfill, we're
And to
classified as a
open
transfer.
a sale.
What?
To open a sale, if we needed to open a sale for the garbage we're talking about, would be extremely expensive.
Yes, and that's something that,
It would be-
it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, a small cell, a small one that lasts you maybe 4 or 5 years, costs you $3-4 million to open it, $3-4 million to close it, because you gotta cap it.
And then there's a
you gotta
liability,
maintain it, then you
then
gotta, there's all kinds of things, so a transfer station is the way to go. You just gotta manage it properly and get all your ducks in a row. And I feel like there's no reason why this transfer station in Madison County can't be the best transfer station in the state of North Carolina. That's the way I feel. But yes, we got some work to do. We got some works that we are very aware of that needs to be done, and I'm willing to jump in the trenches.
One thing I'd like to just add for everybody's information, when Sam and I had these conversations, meeting on his budget, he went through all of this with me, and maybe not all of it, but a lot of this. And he laid out the ideas that he had about Wolf Laurel and the different things that he told me that about training his staff, and he's already deploying that strategy. There are other strategies that we can deploy when it comes to solid waste. One of the best ways to deal with solid waste is to reduce the amount of waste we are producing. I think that's the most effective strategy, and I think that we need some education out here in the community around this, so that, you know, and maybe I was thinking about this, you know, for people who want to compost, you know, for example, that's not going to keep a whole lot out of the landfill, but, you know, plastics and disposables are things that really add up in a hurry. And in today's world, you know, especially after COVID-19 and all the to-go orders and stuff, I think that might be driving, you know, more and more trash produced going to our landfill and transfer.
There is many
sites.
reasons why things are coming to our county. People in Buncombe County, Yancey County, Tennessee, they're coming here, they've learned that we don't question no one, we don't card no one. I catch them all the time. I don't know how much material's coming to this county from other counties until I start carding and catching these folks. That's the only way we're gonna ever stop it, if we actually make them have a card. I pulled in behind somebody about 2 months ago, and the lady got plumb mad at me because I followed all the way to Buncombe County. And I pulled, it was a man and woman, I said, excuse me folks, I was in my regular clothes. They said to me, I said, do y'all have y'all's cards, disposal cards? And that lady said, we don't have no disposal card, in a certain tone. And then she asked me who I was to be asking her. I'm in my civvies, you know, and I said, ma'am, I'm the Solid Samuel Leonard, I'm the director of Madison County Solid Waste. And her face totally changed. She just went, whoo, she went pale. Then the guy told me, we've been doing this for years, and no one's never carded us. I said, I know this. I said, but you're supposed to have a card. I explained to him why. And I did out of courtesy. I said, you folks can put your trash today, but let this be the last time you come to this county with your trash. And I don't know if they've ever been back, but I was just saying something, you know, I was still trying to be a compassionate person.
Well, and didn't you intercept somebody with a truckload of tires not long ago?
Family member.
Oh, well, I didn't know that, I'm sorry.
I got play calls from my uncle and aunts and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was family
It was
members.
family
I'm
members.
sorry, I didn't mean to go
But
there.
when I found out, I held them accountable just like anybody else. Those cars did not come from Madison County. We don't need to be paying for them. I'm sorry. Love me less if you have to, but I'm gonna do what's right.
Yeah.
Sam, when JD presented his bid for this,
Yes.
okay, was there not a fuel surcharge in that based on what the sales per gallon of fuel is based at that time?
That's on an average of each month. They have a monthly, that Atlantic, I forget the group's name on top of my head. They're a group of folks that gives an average per month for the eastern half of the United States, and we base it off of
has
that.
decreased since then quite a bit.
It goes up and down. When prices go up, it costs us more. It goes down, it costs us less. It's all over the place, fuel is. It's very volatile.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the
Yeah.
cost of it, but as far as right now, based on today and when he put in his contract, you're looking at $1 a gallon less today. So,
Possibly from the original, possibly. I don't know that number, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, but
So-
it possibly could be, yes.
my next question is this?
If we're going to pay a surcharge, shouldn't we also get a rebate? Is that what
Exactly.
you're saying?
Yeah, if we're paying a surcharge,
But we didn't negotiate that in the contract, I
No.
imagine.
no, it was in the
It's
contract.
stated, it's based on, the data comes from that group.
Yeah, it's based on the app, on the national app,
That's correct. For the
okay?
eastern half of the United States.
Okay. When is his contract up, do you know?
His contract had ended in May, but in the stipulation, they could be 2-3-year terms, long as no one, it automatically renews for 3 years unless somebody wants to back out of it or whatever. And I think it ended in this May, and so it's right now, it's on another 3 year, and do that this time and one more time, so you can get 6 more years out of this, leave it like it is, open up for bids, whatever, continue on, renegotiate, whatever. But the contract is good for basically 6 more years.
So it's a 3-year contract with 2 options on it.
That's correct.
Yes. I was gonna say, I know Donnie was involved with that, you may not remember all of the details, but I do remember it had an auto clause
There
for both
is,
of us.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the fuel charge, there's not a base. I think if fuel charges go down,
Yes,
he is only being reimbursed at the decreased rate
Right.
right now.
Whatever it is, that's how it's
as
charged.
I recall the
Yeah,
contract, that's
there's
what it
not
was.
a base to
Yeah.
where he gets
Oh,
an
there is.
increase, but it stops at that base and he gets that amount. If it goes below that, he only gets reimbursed for what the average is, so he's not making any money on us. We
Right.
specifically
Okay.
put that in.
I recall, that's what I was
understand.
saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, makes sense, okay.
Well, I guess we get to the bottom line, Sam. Are you not, again, I know you said it once, but let's get it to the record. Are you or are you not, for this coming year, in favor of raising the rate? Do you think you can operate effectively, operate in the black, or at least not seriously in the red, with the current revenue plus what you're doing? Okay, but again, those efforts are in.
I don't know what those numbers are after year,
Yeah, so.
but that's when I put in place.
Because what we're sitting here doing is determining a budget. Whether we cover your costs, whether through a card or whether we cover our general revenue. And we need to be comfortable that we are going to provide you whatever revenue you and the county manager need to be able to continue this operation.
When I originally filled out my budget, my expenditures and my revenue, I had a difference of $154,000. Okay, that's this year. It's about the same last year. And last year, I told you how it was made up.
Mhm.
And we can't continue doing this and pulling from everywhere else. So I'm a problem solver. And I looked at the only means that I had that I knew was to raise things, to present something to y'all with a balanced budget for y'all to look at. Whether we do it or don't do it, it's still up to the commissioners to go along with that. My personal thoughts are probably not in favor of what I'm requesting, but I am a realist, and I think that there's some work to be done. I think there's ways that we can create revenue. I think that we could, if we do an increase, then next year we let all these things that I'd love to have some workshops and talk this stuff out and implement some stuff, change some things, and see what that does and see what numbers it comes up with, and we might be able to put it back down or leave it like it is this year and let me do my stuff, and then knowing that in a year I may be short to pull it from whatever the difference is, pull it from somewhere. But knowing that that's the case, so I know that that everybody's aware that I know that I may not make it, but let's try it. Try these things I'm doing. I'm okay with that. But if you're asking black and white, I cannot conduct my landfill and other stuff with other stuff I may do out of the equation, because that's just all hypothetical. There's no numbers there for me to support that. For me to say that I can actually make it, I would have to have an increase in cards to run the landfill effectively. And that's breaking even. Because there's a lot more to it than just breaking even. We should make 110 to 150,000 profit every year just for a 10-year operational plan for equipment, raises, all kinds of stuff. But I'm just trying to think about breaking even, that's it.
Sam, how much is generated on recycle?
Recycle is, I'm gonna talk professional. If you want my personal opinion about that, I wouldn't look good for me either. The revenue for recycle is this. You pay X amount of men to do a job every hour, 40 hours a week, go pull the ton, pull them back, unload them, bail them, send them out. The recycle market has tanked. I had a question the other night about that penny a pound. I'd be more than glad to talk to
That
you
was
about
my
that.
question, by the way, yeah.
Okay. When I came on board, cardboard was going about $170 a ton. It got up to that. My commingled stuff, my cans, everything was like $90, $110 a ton at that time. So we were shaking. We were making good money off our recycled stuff. But since China did their deal over there, saying they're not going to be the dumping ground of the world, they stopped taking recycle. They still take it, it's going to be super clean, but they stopped all that stuff. So our market there's no money in it. In the last 6 months, we've been getting $15 a ton for cardboard The mixed paper, we've been paying to get rid of it, $10 a ton for over a year and a half. $15 a ton the last 3 months because of the market. Our commingled stuff, our plastic and stuff, we're getting $21 a ton right now.
That's
We've
your
been getting
baled-
that for
That's
last-
your baled plastic and metal
Yes, we can
cans,
get
right?
$21 a ton.
Okay.
So, that being said, I can't, what month it was. Now, I will say this, with all this COVID-19, a lot of businesses are shut down, there's not a whole lot of cardboard, these plants, everybody's not working. So there is a demand for cardboard, so in the month of March, my cardboard went to $30 a ton, and April went $65 a ton. That's only, but I'm optimistic that it may be for a little while and go back the way it was, but I'm hoping they love us and keep
What-
taking our product.
What went to 65 a ton? I didn't hear. I didn't-
Cardboard.
Cardboard.
In April.
I got you.
That's the last month we got any money from them. But I will say this, up to that point, like in January, February, we had like 84 ton of cardboard, mixed paper, all of it, you know, plastics. I got a check for $177 for 1 month.
Okay. So
Okay.
that's my question. If we're getting $177,
That's just like 1 month. It's been
I know.
more than that. That's the
but
last
I mean,
month.
just use let's use last month as an example.
Right.
Okay. If we're getting $177 net profit out of our recyclables, why are we still paying $12,500 into this penny a pound program? We're that
Let
is
me-
a losing
I'll explain
proposition.
to you, this is before I came on board.
Yeah.
That was a program that Kirby.
I'm not criticizing
No,
you,
no, no,
I'm just asking.
Well, they built that up for the schools, for
Sure.
them to promote educational things for, they had teams about recycling. It was other words, we're giving back. You guys participate, companies participate, you know, give you cardboard, we'll give you 1 cent, 1 penny a pound. So now we're still paying 1 penny a pound for the mixed paper and the cardboard. And we're paying for the mixed paper for the last year and a half, like I said, we get rid of it. The money that pays that doesn't come out of a specific line item, just we create revenue from that. It's included in the budget, it just comes out whenever their percentage they.
I understand for you, but for us, that's a line item.
Yes, yes.
That's a $12,500 expense
Yes.
that doesn't need to be there.
It would be a call of what the commissioners wanted to do to continue funding that for educational purposes or take it out.
Yeah.
It's
But
a
we're
call.
paying to get rid of it.
We are paying it, the not mixed paper only.
Mixed paper.
But we're only getting $15 a ton. Well, I told you that's too
On
much.
cardboard, we're getting $15.
But I got a check for 177. Now the last month, because of the month of April, because the cardboard went up, and we do a lot of cardboard. When I came on board, cardboard was so expensive. I was went out looking for businesses to go put trailers at, and I mean that was a revenue maker. And I built up a route like you have no idea. 65 stops in a week. We're still doing that, and Lord, and I'm still trying to pick up cardboard. If it ever comes back, we'll be sitting pretty. But that's just banking, you know, that we're going to get something in the long run. The market will come back.
Right.
But
And in
right
the
now, we're
meantime,
not.
you got to store it, right?
No, we still moving on.
Okay, you're moving it on. You're not
Yeah, we have
just
nowhere
sitting
to
on
store it. No,
Okay.
we don't have a facility to store it.
Because if it gets wet, then it's not worth
Yes,
as
no,
much
worth
and everything
nothing,
else,
right?
right?
Right, exactly. We have to have a dry, big facility because it builds up. We've seen a lot of trailers to American Recycling.
Right,
It's
right,
predominantly cardboard, you know.
right. So,
But-
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, though. So this, am I looking at this right in the books? The $12,500 is a direct expense to the landfill, correct?
That's right.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And if we're not generating the revenue to support that expense, then I say we eliminate that expense.
That's your choice. Y'all can do that.
I mean, that's my
I couldn't strike that off.
proposition.
I couldn't strike that off, but I have my thoughts on that.
I understand, And,
In the business perspective.
right.
I
And
like the education purpose of it.
And I understand the education purpose of it too, but we, you know, the schools get a big chunk of money every year to educate people, and that probably doesn't take a tremendous amount to throw in a little bit extra, education about recycling.
It's not making money.
And if we're losing money on recycling anyway, how much, you know, at what point it's a dog chasing its tail, basically, right?
Yes.
So, you know, again, I'm not criticizing you for having it in your budget. I'm just trying to figure out why it's there if we're not making anywhere close to enough money to even support it.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's not, you know, not personal.
No.
No.
Well, I ain't taking it personal.
So-
We might be on the same page. This ain't gonna happen.
I mean, it's $12,000 on the 27th there, so yeah.
Okay.
Now, I still return to my question a few moments ago, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Sam, but we're trying to make the right choice here, okay, on what we charge people for taxes. And if I understood you correctly, you're thinking that if all things remain stable, out of what you're trying to do, and probably will be successful, I think you enforcing the cards, I think that's going to bring us some additional revenue. But on the current paradigm, you're saying you need an additional $150,000 a year in revenue to the landfill in order to not have to have us subsidize it. Am I reading you correctly?
That is correct.
All
My
right.
difference is
So your
$154,000.
shortfall, your projected reasonable best work shortfall, that one way or the other that we know we need to pay for to maintain the current
Just to break
service
even, yes.
would be approximately $150,000.
Well, we're down to 137.5 now.
137.5. I'll agree.
Because I
I'll
just
agree to
got- I just
137.5.
found 12.5 right there.
Yeah,
so.
we're moving in the right direction.
All right, so now my next question, Sam, and again, this isn't a criticism, I'm just looking for explanation here. In the requested budget, we've got a line for 87,000 for vehicles. And then
Capital
the
improvements.
county managers, that's what, we're gonna get to that, hang on. The county manager's budget is 27,000. I'm just curious, tell me what those would be for.
27,000 for capital improvements?
Well, it's
Capital vehicles.
Capital vehicles. it
Oh, capital
says.
vehicles, okay,
Yeah.
capital vehicles. My request was, for 85.
Okay.
In my meeting, we put down 61, so I'm not really aware of the 20, what'd you say, 27?
27 is what's in our budget book.
Okay. You wanna know what it's for?
Well, I guess my question is, what would we be spending that money on, or do we have an idea? Is it just kind of,
Well, $27,000 is there what I need, but I'll have to figure out where I'll spend that $27,000. There's multiple things that I was going to try to do that, to try to build us up a little bit of surplus in our equipment that's run down. You know,
Right.
I was gonna buy 4 different things that was used, but I was gonna find some good used stuff, because I'm very good at finding things and getting the best price for the
I
county.
got you.
I don't know what the 27,000 would be for. I have to look at it and figure out what I'm gonna leave off and add to. I don't know what that.
I got you, okay.
So what you're saying is you proposed 87 and the budget's showing 27, so if we go back to your 87, we're actually adding $50,000 back because you had figured 87 when you told
Well,
us.
no, I'm assuming that your 150,000 shortfall was based on your numbers, not the county manager's.
That's
numbers,
correct.
Yeah, but his numbers were originally at 87 is where I'm coming from.
I understand, but he's saying he's gonna have a $150,000 shortfall with, yeah.
Yeah.
Hope in totality.
So how would you suggest we get to that 150, Sam?
How would I suggest?
Are you?
There's not a whole lot of things I can do other than
What
say.
I'm saying, are you suggesting we should raise the cards? I know we don't want to, don't get me wrong, but is that a fix to get you to where you're at?
That's a little. I'd
Do
like
you
to.
think-
I'd like to go after the people that's getting away with it. To be honest with you,
Well, I know it, but we ain't gonna be able
But
to
to be
fix
honest with
this
you, we have to do something.
like
We
this,
gotta pay
right.
for the landfill. We can't keep doing what we're doing. We're going the wrong way. There's a lot of things
Do
we
you
can
think
do.
that by checking the cars, you think that will be a sizable amount of money to come in?
Will it be $150,000 worth?
No, Lord,
I guess
no,
what-
not that.
No.
You need 1,000 people not paying right now to make this break even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got 9,000 cards, so that's,
9,500.
well, 9,500.
Or at least a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, is there
There's all kinds of
another?
things we can look at, dumpster contracts in the old ordinances. Some of the stuff is outdated and old. We need to redo this, you know, and I'm all for it. I'm in. I know what we need to do.
Well,
I know,
can
I got ideas.
you safely say, okay,
I'm increasing my card if I do that, say yes.
but if you don't increase the card, can we look at other means to make up the difference?
No, there's no way.
It's a no-brainer.
No, there's no way.
That's the bottom line.
Let me ask you another
This is
question.
2 years in a row, this.
Sam, explain to us what this penny a pound pays for. This, you're saying education.
Yeah,
Money.
they can use it for, computers and they can use it however they want to, you know. We
See,
sit
I'm not
down
cutting
with
for nothing education, I'll be honest with you, out of the budget, because
Well,
I know they've
again,
got
that
a
program was
budget.
set up before I got here, and how the effectiveness of it and how it's being used once it gets to those schools.
Right.
I am not privy to any of that, I just know this is what we've been doing, and I follow suit because I do like the education part of it, but there's a business end of that, which I totally understand. So it's a business model you gotta check, see if you wanna continue doing it in your budget or not as a commissioner.
Sam, in terms of effective solid waste strategies and whatnot, is there not a school of thought that the kids in the school, if they're trained, they will influence the home, the household to recycle and do the things that...
There's no study that will support that giving these kids this education at a young age, they will have to be adults that recycle. There's nothing that says yet about doing this is making a great big difference. It's introduced them to it, and if they choose to do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. It depends on how they feel about society and how they are, and how their life is going, if they want to do it or not. There's nothing that says what percentage will go on to promote recycling.
Right. I gave you a copy of what you submitted to
Yeah,
Capital.
absolutely.
The thing that I recommended were those 2 replacement items, so if you want to discuss.
Oh, I already know off the top of my head, looking at it, what would be a priority. With that 27,000, that I've been on that budget, if I had to look at, I had 5 things to put down here.
Okay.
A used box truck, because I don't have no backup box truck. I don't have one right now. I just have my main one. That's it. And if it goes down, I'm in a pickle. So we have to pull a trailer. It's a lot of work for my guys. It's difficult. It's raining. It's hard. So I was going to just get a used one. Then we sit around and use it every now and then because we got a brand new box truck. Not brand new, but fairly brand new. It should be reliable. But sometimes the guys go into services. Sometimes their sensors go out. There's things that happen on the new vehicle. We need a backup. So I was going to get us a used one for $10,000 to put it down, which, $10,000. I'm pretty savvy. Anybody knows me, I'm pretty strict with my household income, the way I do things, and I can go get some pretty good box truck for $10,000. I can work them down and get a good box truck, whoever has it. I had a 1-ton flatbed truck. I put $20,000. I have a 2016 flatbed. This is the truck that pulls the recycle trailers. I got a 2016, was bought just before I came on board. Then I have a 2008 model that I purchased since I've been here because it's used, but we got a good used 2008 model. Then the backup to that is a 1998 model, I think it is. That's my backup to the other 2. And it's on its last leg. So I was thinking I needed another backup just in case, that one of those go down, because that one is real old. I fixed that thing 3 times in one day. It ain't nothing to be bragging about. So I was going to try to find some flatbed truck that I could use to be a reliable backup. You don't have to be brand new or nothing like that. It's a good, usable backup.
Right.
So put that on there. Use the excavator. I got videos of the excavator we used that blew up. Y'all would be amazed at the smoke that was coming out of that thing before the rings finally just went. Yeah, we got a smaller excavator this past year.
Right.
Grateful. That thing has been phenomenal, but it's not designed to do the metal pad like it needs to be. We're crunching stuff up, put it in the stuff we're built around metal. We leave that just for that area. We have a Hitachi that blew up. We got another one. It's older than dirt. It's a gray market piece machinery. I can't find parts for it. We patch it, and it tears up all the time. But we use it because we just try to make ends meet.
That's the one. That's the one that was like some sort of prototype that the manufacturer made, and we ended up with.
We
it
got
come
2
out,
of them that
correct?
come from the gray market. I don't know how it got here. I just know when I got here, it's a gray market piece of machinery. How they purchased it, the story behind it, I don't know. I just know that it was a great aftermarket.
I think it was 2
And
kind
finding
of
parts of that
together.
stuff is
You're right.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things on there, and that was an excavator. I was gonna get a used one. I through those folks I bought that one from this year, May Equipment. They said for $30,000 they can get me a really good used one, and be good for down there. So I put $30,000 there because I asked the guy who bought it what would be a good price, for a good used one. He said $30,000 will get you a really good one. So I put $30,000 on it based on talking to someone who sells and wheels and deals with equipment every day. Been 30 plus years, so I had a lot of knowledge there. So I used his knowledge. 4-yard compactor. Y'all know about Bone Camp. Y'all know about Mars Steel turned up all the time. Y'all know about Shelton Laurel, how old that one is. Y'all know about the one at Big Laurel. I put $15,000 just going to replace one of them. And I figured that'd be Bone Camp, because I'm at Bone Camp every day. But I will say this, since I put that number down, we had a the phase converter motor was constantly going out. It's kicking the brake, it was just tearing up. We had rebuilt a couple times. I purchased a new motor. Had to send a picture of it. They had to get one because that's a little different system than all the others. They found me a new motor. We put it in there, and that thing's been working like a champ.
Good.
A few little glitches, but it's working like a champ.
That's a bone camp?
At bone camp, yes. So that being said, that's good. What I would think of, instead of just replacing these things, I think we should just buy motors. Buy whole new motors, and we'll swap out ourselves. We've already done a couple ourselves anyway. We bought them to come to us, and I'll change them.
And how much does that save, Sam?
Huh?
How much does that save?
Oh, that'll save a lot. You buy a new unit, probably, I don't know if that calling get exact, I probably could buy a new motor for $1,500, $2,000 as compared to paying $8,000 or $9,000 for the RAM and everything that comes with it. You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but it'd be
And
saving
the
a
whole
lot.
compactor is gonna be 15 grand or more
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
for a
exactly.
used one.
No.
That's for a new
That
one.
was for a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to go use on that. They get used to it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go. I wouldn't
if
cut.
somebody
the
else is
on that.
getting rid of it, it's because it's a problem.
Yeah, we don't want
already.
to do that. I didn't want to go that route or even
Okay.
suggest that. But that 15,000, I might do 2 or 3 motors, 4 motors. I mean, that's what I thought after the fact. I said, well, we'll just
Well, and
leave it there.
you just
Yeah.
listed off at least a half a dozen that are on
Yeah.
their last leg.
They're old.
Yeah.
And they're not much to them. I mean, the RAM, and they're not much to them, but those panel boxes are old.
Yeah.
They falter, they get wore out. You know, it's like
Some
anything
of
else.
them are as old as the landfill itself.
And me and my landfill supervisor, Mark Tipton, we went down to Baker Waste and actually did training on the compactors. The flip side of that was when we got there, it's all the new stuff. And I said, we got old stuff. We thought we'd get class on some old stuff. So, but we did gain some knowledge about going there and doing that, and it has helped us up here. So we work on those themselves. They used to have people come work on them. I thought I was wasting too much money on that. I figured I'll pay $200 for a class. Me and my supervisor go there and get educated ourselves. We'll fix them ourselves. So that's what we've been doing.
All right.
That's me why trying to save money.
Not truly, Sam, not trying to cut you off, but back to the approximately $50,000. 9,500 approximately current cards, correct?
Say that again.
Approximately 9,500 current cards that we have
Yeah,
in circulation.
that we send out.
Right. And if I've done my arithmetic halfway correct, and please correct me someone if I'm wrong,
But Commissioner Gentry, I based it on 8,500 because I released a lot of cards.
I know, okay, so.
And so my figures wasn't the 95, it was like 80,
Okay,
88
okay, well,
or something like
okay.
that. I can't
Well, now,
remember
if it's based on 85, that changes my arithmetic. At 95, $15 would raise 152,000. So now I see why you had the 20, okay? So the 20 would obviously raise $170,000, approximately, because we got a little flux in there.
I'm hoping to catch a whole bunch more.
Yeah, but based on what we know,
Right. What
Yeah.
we actually on paper, yes, it would be
Yes.
that. I'm looking to make a lot more than that.
yeah. But
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I think there's another strategy that we can deploy, and I think that this is necessary, and that is that we need to do an audit of the property cards in the tax office.
I'd agree.
So that we have a
Yes.
complete, clean record. I mean, now that this discovery is apparent, I think we need to go after this and get to the bottom of this straight away.
Who would do that audit?
Well, I would say at this point in juncture, we could probably call Gould and Gillian, or they have the expertise to be able to do it. They're local, so that would, and we've engaged them in other matters. So I would like to, with your permission, contact them and see if we can't get this rectified, because I really think that's gonna help you more than anything else. And I do think that checking cards is an essential piece of this, but we need to get this done quickly because the tax bills are gonna go out
Yes.
real quickly. So
Yes.
we need to get on this like a
And I
duck
can
on a
give you a
jukebox.
little bit of knowledge about the tax office because I've spoken with them.
Well, can't we
When you
just get,
increase it, they have to individually, in
Each
every
one.
one of those one at a time. That's a daunting task they did
Yeah.
last year. I was around those conversations, but do we shy from it because of that? No, but it is a task for the folks over
Needs
that
to be
office.
done.
No, and I hear that, and I thank you for saying that, but in the long, if we're gonna have to pass this along to every taxpayer in Madison County, everybody's gonna have to
Everybody.
pull up and just get it done.
Will that audit be
Whatever,
something
I mean-
that picks out all the livable dwellings? Is that what you're after?
Yes, we're gonna look at what the ordinance says and make sure that it applies, that we're applying the tax correctly on the cards, so.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
That's
can we
the-
not get all this information from Lori and not, can she not provide us the information based on the number of bills?
She don't know, and I'm not trying to be flippant when I say that.
Well, if she don't know, then we've got a problem with our system, do we not?
We do have a problem, and that's what we're saying, and she would tell you the same thing.
Right.
And so, you know, at this point in juncture, we're gonna need to have, she could potentially do it, but I'd like to have somebody else do it so that you and I and all of us and her know that we're not having anything that somebody could say, oh, well, how come these 100 cards didn't get on the system, you know, or get billed? I wanna make sure that we don't have that liability out there.
You're saying put a clean set of eyes on it.
Yes,
How are
sir.
they gonna find it if we can't find it in our own office?
Well,
That's what I'm curious to know too. I mean, that's exactly, I mean, what would they do differently to find it than what we can do ourselves?
Yeah.
Do we know? I mean, I don't know. That's more maybe a rhetorical question, but what would they do that we can't do ourselves?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that they can do is they can give you a positive opinion, if you will, an auditor's opinion, that that it's done right.
Mhm.
We can't have our staff say that it's done right and know 110% sure that it's right. I mean, they can do it and we can believe it, but it's just like what we were talking about with these audited financial statements. I would rather have,
Well, why don't we contact the people that we bought this new system from and have them come and do it?
well, we could do that, but we could certainly look into that avenue, but I want to know it's right. And this system, the group that was here, they're not right, and he's telling you they're not right. He now has evidence to support that, and so.
I suspected that a long time ago, but now what's this gonna cost us, do you think, to have this done?
It will cost something, but the bottom line is that we'll have it right, okay? I'll get you a quote on how much it will be and bring it back
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah,
So
I-
that we're
I-
not an
I-
open-ended
That's
thing,
reasonable.
you
Yeah, that's
know,
reasonable.
and whatnot. But the bottom line, I think, on this is, I wanna make sure it's done right.
Well, we need to fix the problem, that's for sure.
Yes,
But
yes.
I
I
also
don't
think-
understand, you know, and again, I'm not trying to throw daggers at anybody, but I don't understand why we bought a tax system based on a recommendation from the department head of the tax department, and then it won't do what she needs it to do.
The tax
Sing it.
system will do it.
Okay.
Okay, the tax system is it will do anything. It'll tell you how old your child is. The problem with that tax system is the data entry. You've got to put the data in for it to produce. If the data is not put in, our old system was so old,
It wasn't
it would
compatible.
not transfer the system over. So what Laurie had a hard time doing was we contracted with I think Rutherford County, some folks down there who came up here for a period of time and assisted our folks to show them how to transfer the data. So that was the problem that was going on initially. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the system, Mr. Briegman. I don't think there's anything we contact that vendor to do. I think what you go to Laurie and your assessor and you determine what needs to be done or what their recommendation is to actually get the appropriate data into that system.
And that wouldn't require an audit firm to come in.
I don't know what it would require. I mean, I think Laurie or your assessor, they're familiar with how that system works. I think you probably maybe should ask them, you know, this is the problem we've got. What is the best way to do it? You may need somebody. You may actually just need to have somebody who is good on data entry to go through every one of the cards on the computer and match the picture, if it has a house on it,
Yeah.
and do it and see what that cost would be.
I've been doing it that time.
But I think that
That's
that
what you've been
would be
doing?
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
you know, I think Lori or who's your assessor? I think they know how that system works. Ask them what's the best way to do it.
The numbers that are going to be staggering. I went Madison Road, 2 mile stretch, click on every home. I found 7 homes in a 2 mile distance that didn't have a card.
Well, to move us on,
How many of them were mobile homes?
There were a few homes and few mobile homes. Personal property is different than, you know, it can be personal property also. So they might not be, but if I see it's a home that's on there, I click on it, see if they got a property card, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of those could have been personal properties, I didn't go that deep because those names on those personal properties, when you click on the GIS, they're not accurate, there could be somebody else living there. They just don't catch that often. So I don't rely on that, I just basically look at homes. There may have been a couple on there, but I think they're all homes.
So you're basing it on dwellings that you see,
That's
whether it's a
correct.
house or trailer, it doesn't
Yes.
matter, you're just looking at a
Yes.
dwelling.
Yeah, and there may be more, they may be a personal property, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, you know,
well, there's 22,000 people living in Madison County or thereabouts.
how many?
22,000.
Yes.
I don't have any structures. However, our counselor put it pretty clear that that's lesson 101 in the computer class. Garbage in, garbage out. If they don't have the right stuff going in there, but now everybody, this department knows that. They know this is going on. So I agree with everything that's being said. We need to move it now and bring the people back from rough town, somebody else. This needs to be solved. And it can be solved because two simple arrays, in and out, run the property tax against this, the property owners against this, they ought to be able to spit that out in a second, saying what's there and what's not. That is a first year computer science project. It can be done unless we bought crap. So that can happen. And I've got people who are gonna go back, computer science people, we can pay a few dollars an hour and keep them with fed and watered, and they can put that stuff in anybody's
And you know,
business.
it sounds, you have somebody who is dedicated only to do that. That would pay for itself,
Yes.
probably.
well,
I
yes.
leave that up
Sure
to
it
your
would.
tax person, but, you know, that may be.
So let's look at a plan. My suggestion is we call the vendor, whoever it is, tell them to get there up here. Let's meet with the other two people. When I say we, I mean Mark, tomorrow, and get that on there. Let's figure out what the problem is, where it is, and let's solve this thing. If we need somebody with data collection, I've got all kind of people. That's what they do. They want to know what they're putting in. You tell them what it is.
Yeah.
And as far as Sam's suggestion that we do some workshops so that we understand what he's dealing with down there, I think is totally reasonable and is something that would benefit this board and also probably Sam's department,
Absolutely.
for us to all understand to have a firm understanding of what goes on down there, instead of just thinking everything just magically disappears into a hole.
Yeah. Completely agree with both comments.
I'm giving a class tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, y'all want to come stand on the too.
And completely agreeing with everything. We have a question here relative to budget, gentlemen. And best information we have at the moment is that we have an approximate 152,000, something to be covered some way. And I think the discussion has to be, do we choose to cover that projected hole within the budget out of general revenue, knowing it is a high probability that it could be there, okay? Or do we choose to raise the card, the $15, $20, whatever it would be, as was proposed, to cover that projected shortfall? We have two choices, as I look at it from a business management point of view.
Did we not pull last year from the landfill reserves to cover the additional operating expenses?
100,000.
Ms. Carey?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 100,000.
Yes, we did.
And you also cut me 50,000 on my transfer requirement. That'd be the $150,000 shortage that I was showing last year. That's how it was made up.
Okay, let's stay on Commissioner Gentry's question.
Well, and Matt's comment is relative to it. That
Yes,
is
I got
another resource for which we cover, and we had approximately the same necessity to pool funds last year. Yes. So we have some options as to how we cover it, but we do need to decide how we cover it. Yes, indeed.
I say add it to the card. Because he's gonna have to have it. We can't keep going in the hole.
Turn that thing off, dude.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Be a hot item, won't it?
Cancel this flight for tomorrow.
It would be nice if we could get some type of an understanding on how many of those cards by the company could come here quickly to see how this is. So I'm tentative because, and I agree with what my brother Mark saying to my left, but you know, that's a tax. That certainly is a tax. We need to, it may have to happen, but it'd be nice to know how many cards are going, that have not been charged. We could put that 160 in there. If there is 800, whatever, we could get close.
But see, by waiting this long to do this, we don't have luxury. No.
Okay?
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Well,
that
next
is
year, we're gonna
correct.
go back and readjust it, you know.
But I'll catch them.
Okay. Okay. No, Matt, thank you, Matt, for bringing us back. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, we have Mr. Snelson. Commissioner Snelson says he would like to do it. What say the rest?
Well, I'm a believer that people should pay for what they get. And we're talking about 8,500, 9,000, 9,500 cards versus 22,000 citizens. If we put it in the millage, and that's where it'll end up being, or if we have the people that actually use it pay for it, I'm more in favor of having the people that use it pay for it, rather than add it to the millage.
I am too.
I mean, that's, or we agree tonight to take it out of the reserve and pull our reserves down, and we already know that we are where we are, and we can do it. That's actually the third option. But we've got to make a decision to do it, and I'm a great believer that people who use something should pay for it. And so therefore, I would agree with Mark. I think, yeah, the question would it be 15, which is a little short, or 20, which might give us, and folks, on a $2 million budget, we are truly talking about fractions of a penny. But it would take a minimum of 15 to come close, and 20 to be, which is exactly what was proposed, the $20 that was originally proposed.
We need at least break even. I mean, you can come back and visit next year and say, okay, we've got this 400 here, we can drop this to 140. But I think for this coming year, to get Sam to where he gets least is even.
Well, and the other thing is, guys, all of these great ideas, and hopefully they'll pay out. Hopefully they'll pay out, but we do, as Matt said, we have to adopt a budget tonight and set this for the year. And that's just where we are. So I would think it's fairest to put it on the card.
Well, that will be, that increase, right now you pay $13.33 a month to be able to get rid of your trash. Another, I think we offer it. If you go up to $175, that makes it $14.58 a month to get rid of your trash. That's still that's a great bargain. If you check around the other counties, other landfills, that's
It is a bargain.
But there's things we need to do. That's letting you know, in perspective per month. That's $13.33 going to $14.58 a month to be able to get rid of your trash. If you go up 15, if you went up 20, it'd be $15 a month. You know.
For the people that have numerous cards, it could be quite a bit.
Well, gentlemen, we have a choice. Obviously, you know,
A lot of those folks that got numerous cards are actually putting dumpsters. A lot of them are.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to get to where they're throwing trash back over the bank, because back 20 years ago, you know, I know, you know, there's places in every community that they was stoves thrown over the bank, there's garbage, household garbage and stuff. So I say we go to 20. He needs it. It's not like he's not asking for something he doesn't need.
Sam, how much do you generate on our aluminum can?
I don't know the yearly total, right now off the top of my head. I just know what it's going for now. It's,
And aluminum and plastic are baled together, correct?
that is correct, they're commingled, yes.
They are.
Yeah, that's correct. tin, aluminum.
Can I
and
ask you why
plastics.
that is? Why do we do that?
The business module that was handed down to me was that it was cost effective to put it together instead of separating, because it's two different processes. They had a machine there separated it, you had to bale this one, you had two different balers. It was a lot of labor intensity that the price they were willing to give it together commingled was feasible to do it that way instead of keeping it separate.
It wasn't worth the cost to separate it out.
That's correct. That's the assumption that I got, and I've never had done a cost comparison to this way or that way. I know that from just talking to the folks that were there at the time, that it was very challenging to do it that way. You know, most of your landfills have gone to single stream.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
thank the good Lord we ain't single stream, because those people are paying to get rid of their stuff. Every one of them. I sit in the Atlantic Sky meetings, and I tell them that we're still getting money, and they're in awe. I said, because we didn't single stream everything. Guess what? We got a grant a year and a half ago to go single, to pay for a compactor. But they told me it's going to give me $6 a ton for everything, and I backed out of it. I wrote letters and no, thank you I denied the grant, because I didn't think that was the way to go. And good thing we did, because we'd be paying to get rid of it right now.
Yep.
It was a good decision, not to pat myself on the back, but it's just a good decision. So
All right,
good luck with this world.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, I think,
Move on.
I think we call sort of somewhat of a question here.
Okay, it's to the right side here. Mr. Wechtel, Commissioner Wechtel? Mr. Freeman?
You're asking me if I'm in favor of
Yes,
the-
sir, yes, sir.
I will not support that.
Okay.
It took me a long time to get it reduced, and I understand Sam's situation and where he says he's at, but I think we need to look at the complete landfill and recycling, and not just the disposal card.
Well, I'll make one final comment. I've said this several times tonight, and it's relative to the whole budget, folks. If we know we've got an expense, whatever that expense is, and we're pretty comfortable that that's what it's gonna take to keep it going, whatever it is, you know, multi-million-dollar budget. All we're basically doing is determining how we're gonna pay for it. I completely agree that we revisit, we go do all the other things that are good here and help support Sam and get this done and get the best possible landfill operation that we can get, the most effective and the most efficient. But our necessity at the moment is to how do we pay as we get there. And we can do it either way. We can keep the card exactly where it is, knowing full well that when we have to set the millage, that we're gonna have to figure out a way to pay for that. It's like our own personal budgets, our business budgets. If we sit down, we'll look at it and say, okay. So, I mean, if the group says pass it on millage, so be it, and that's good. And that does give us more time. It doesn't raise the cards. My personal preference, and I said it before, I think you ought to pay for what you use. And the card is a pay for what you use. The millage is a tax on everybody in the county, rich, poor, old, everybody that owns property. And hopefully we'll come back here at the end of the year and find out that we've made big improvements and we've cut the cost or keep the cost from going up more. But right now, it's a very simple decision, knowing we're gonna have to cover it. If we keep the card where it's at, when we come to addressing the millage after a while, it's just one of those things that's got to be in the total bucket. So, I'm good whichever way we go, actually.
We're talking in circles here.
We are.
It's a vote.
It's a vote.
Yes, sir.
And I'm still in favor of the card, and I will, whatever action we need to take, Mr. Chairman, if you want to vote or however you want to do it.
Well, okay, we're ready for a formal vote?
Sure.
Okay, all right. So what's on the table is whether or not we go from 160 to 180 on the trash disposal card. Do I have a motion that we go to 180?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
We're now back into discussion part. Is any further discussion? With no discussion being there, then let's see who is in favor of going to 180.
Raise your hand.
Who is not in favor of going? Okay, all right. It goes,
What's the vote?
3-2.
You didn't raise your
Which
hand.
way? You didn't raise your hand.
You didn't raise your
So
hand.
which one?
Are you for or against, Greg? I'm sorry.
4.
You're for.
I don't wanna do it.
Okay.
And I'm still hoping we can come back and do an amendment, because I'm gonna push somebody's A double consonant on getting that thing done and find out there's other cards to go, but yes. That's what I said, A double consonant, that's all, we'll put that.
Commissioner Bergman and Commissioner Whitfield are against this.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow commissioners, I'm gonna ask us for a 10-minute break. Can I have a motion on that?
So moved.
I'm going either to go or not, that doesn't matter. Or second, all in favor? Okay. All right, yeah.
Time out. Time out.
Because I gotta, yeah.
Nice job, Sam.
live, this was a recess, and we're back in. Okay. So I don't think we have any more department heads here to do that, so now it comes to you commissioners for other questions or any other direction from our county manager. But I believe Commissioner Wechtel has a couple of areas he would like to explore.
Oh, I thought we was gonna start the front and go back here, just page by page.
Would you like to do that? What says the, would you like to get started at the,
Do that, and I think it'll go faster.
gentlemen, you good with that?
What's
Start
that?
with the first page, and just
Start
keep
first
going,
page
and when you have your
literally
questions,
walk
just
through.
jump on
Just
it.
ask if anybody's got questions on each page.
Yeah.
Matt, Wayne?
Are we okay at
What did you
that?
say, sir?
Just start at the very first page, and we'll just go flipping, as you have
That's fine.
questions, we'll stop.
I'm good with that.
We'll, okay, okay.
All right, well, I'm gonna talk.
Folks, it's not gonna bother us if somebody has to get up and leave or get up and go to the restroom, because this may be a while.
Turn on a fan.
Turn on the fan.
And the windows don't open.
Why is it not, it's not hot, it's hot in here.
And it's got
He's
AC.
gonna pass out, I can
It's
tell.
hot. You're right. It's hot.
Well, can somebody, is that thing,
It
It
says
says
it's
80, it says 80.
80.
I believe
Hey.
I
the
guarantee
AC in
it.
this, AC in this room does not work, it's broken.
Well, that's
running?
Break the window.
It doesn't, well, I'm just saying, I think our other group next door have left, I'm just saying, in that room that's really,
Do you want me to see if I can move this over?
well, just see if they're moved, if they've left, because we're gonna be here for 2 or 3 hours.
We'll have to take a few minutes to get IT set up, but that can be done.
However, rather than have heat stroke.
Yeah, okay, first
Any
page.
questions on the first page?
Fund 10, general fund is where we are. Anybody have a question on our very first page?
And that's sub-item 3100. Ad valorem taxes is actually that page.
Well, I do, so if, here's, and this, I think my suggestion is gonna be worth a little bit of money here, so,
Okay, I'm rock and roll.
I want to see if he's gonna switch.
oh, are we gonna switch or not switch?
That's up to y'all. I mean, I'm one vote. It's up to.
How long it take us, Jamie, to switch, about 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes max. Just because we'll
Dude,
wait
you're
to
gonna
get
die. He's gonna die.
Now, Cindy.
I'm surprised you won't keep him in here, see?
This is when you can turn it right in.
He's going to fall over, I'm telling you. I can
No,
tell.
I'm like this. I've been married 37,000 years. I'm used to being.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. All right, here we go, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
All right, Matt?
Take it down now.
Let's go.
Okay.
We're going over.
Sorry, Jamie.
It's just gonna keep getting warmer and warmer and warmer.
Yeah, Matt?
But it's not gonna get any better.
Are we gonna
Oh, we're going?
Yeah.